The air was thick with the hum of cicadas as I pulled into our driveway, the late afternoon sun glinting off the asphalt. My son, Lucas, slumped in the passenger seat, his face flushed from his speech therapy session. His fingers twitched, a subtle warning I'd learned to spot. No seizure today, but his body was a battlefield, every moment a negotiation with chaos. He clutched his red medical folder, his noise-canceling headphones adorned with faded dinosaur stickers, his shield against a world that often felt too loud. I was helping him out of the car when a voice sliced through the calm like a blade. "Excuse me." I turned to see Deborah Klein, our HOA president, standing in my driveway like she'd been summoned by some petty deity. Her pastel blazer was crisp, her clipboard a weapon, her sunglasses perched like a crown. "I saw your son," she said, her tone icy, "near lot 17, flailing on the sidewalk, collapsing. It looked theatrical." Lucas stiffened beside me. I blinked, the word theatrical landing like a slap. "He's epileptic," I said, voice low but sharp. "He has seizures." Deborah's lips curled into a thin, dismissive smile. "We all have challenges, don't we? But HOA rules classify screaming, falling, and erratic behavior or as noise violations. It's disruptive." My hands shook. "He's 10. He's not faking a medical condition." Deborah stepped closer, heels clicking like gunfire. "I'm saying his behavior or draws attention, and it's making neighbors uncomfortable. If he needs that much supervision, perhaps he should stay indoors." Lucas's grip on my hand tightened, his nails biting into my palm, a silent plea. I knelt, whispering, "You're okay, buddy. Breathe." Deborah sniffed, as if compassion were a bad smell. "Consider the community," she said, then turned and strode away, leaving me seething in her wake. That night, Lucas seized on our levying room floor. Mid-sentence, he crumpled, his head clipping the coffee table. Blood trickled from his lip, a bruise blooming near his eye. His small body thrashed, fists clenched, eyes fluttering. My husband, Mark, called 911 while I cradled Lucas, sobbing as I pressed the towel to his mouth to keep him from choking. The paramedics, familiar faces by now, were gentle. "What triggered this one?" one asked. I couldn't answer, but Deborah's voice echoed in my mind, accusing my son of staging his pain. The next morning, an envelope waited on our doorstep, HOA letterhead, pristine and menacing. Notice of violation, behavior oral disruption and noise disturbance. Fine, due law 500. Incident, Tuesday, 3:32 p.m. Excessive screaming, collapsing, erratic movement. My VY sound blurred with rage. They'd seen Lucas seize and called it a disturbance. Mark pried the letter from my hands before I tore it apart. "We're not paying this," he said. I nodded, but screaming wouldn't fix this. I needed a plan. I spent hours scouring the Americans with Disabilities Act, Fair Housing Act, and HOA bylaws. By midnight my eyes burned, but I was alive with purpose. Deborah thought she could silence us, but she just lit a fuse. I found case law HOAs sued for finding autistic kids behaviors, for banning seizure dogs. Online forums buzzed with stories like ours, families bullied by suburban despots. I posted, "HOA fined us due law 500 for my son's seizure, called it a disturbance." "Anyone else?" Replies flooded in, "They fined my kid's Tourette's tics." Sued ours and won. Contact an ADA advocate. I knocked on doors, heart pounding. At the first house, Jenna Cole, mother of rowdy twins, admitted Deborah fined her for their sidewalk chalk graffiti. Down the street, a dad was cited for his daughter's garage violin practice invasive music. A mom got a warning for her toddler's sprinkler squeals. Each story mirrored ours: fines, threats, isolation. Deborah had built a kingdom of fear, her clipboard a scepter. But fear works both ways, and I was done being afraid. At the seventh door, Claire Nguyen opened up. Her daughter, Mia, was autistic, often humming and flapping her hands. "Deborah find us for Mia's guttural noises at the mailbox," Claire said, voice breaking. "She followed us once, taking notes on Mia's erratic movements." My stomach churned. "Why should we hide?" Claire asked. That night she joined our fight. Within a week, we had 14 families silenced, we called ourselves. We logged every incident, letters, voicemails, even a neighbor's security footage of Deborah pacing, dictating notes about a child's unruly behavior or. It was chilling. It was EVY Denke. The Epilepsy Foundation responded to my outreach with fury. "This is illegal disability discrimination," they said, offering a representative for our planned HOA meeting. Mark and I drafted a letter to the board, citing ADA and fair housing laws, demanding a public meeting. We added, "Epilepsy Foundation reps and press will attend." We printed 40 flyers. The neighborhood erupted. Strangers stopped us, sharing their own fines for wind chimes, for laughter. A text from Claire read, "Deborah called, asked if I'm attending. She's scared." I smiled. Good. The community hall was a powder keg, chairs packed wall to wall, the air electric with whispers. Deborah swept in, heels sharp, clipboard gleaming, oblivious to the cameras, the Epilepsy Foundation rep, the journalist poised like a hawk. She didn't see the family she'd find, now staring her down in defiant silence. Mark leaned over. "She's about to realize this isn't her show." I stood, hard hammering, and took the mic. "A line has been crossed," I said, voice steady. "This isn't one incident, it's a pattern. Fines to silence children, to punish disability, to erase joy." The projector flickered on. Grainy footage played, Lucas in our Levying room, twitching, collapsing, screaming as he seized. Gasps filled the room. Then Deborah's voice from our Ring camera. He was twitching for attention. It looked fake. The silence was deafening. "You called this fake," I said, staring at Deborah. "You fined us due law 500 for my son's seizure." She shifted, lips tight. "I was misquoted." "No," I snapped. "You weren't." I turned to the Epilepsy Foundation rep, MS. Larson. "Is this common?" She stood. "It's rampant, but rarely challenged." "This violates the ADA. It's illegal." Claire spoke next, voice shaking but fierce. "My autistic daughter was fined for humming." Deborah said she sounded like a dying animal. Parents rose, one by one, sharing stories of fines for violin notes, birthday cheers, autistic stimming. The journalist stepped forward. "Ms. Klein, do you deny fining a family for a seizure, violating federal law?" Deborah stood, blazer pristine, voice brittle. "This is an attack." I followed procedure. There were complaints. The journalist pressed. "Even if it breaks the ADA?" Deborah's jaw clenched. She had no answer. The room turned. Board members avoided her gaze. Deborah bolted, heels echoing, no one following. A board member stood, voice shaky. "Effective immediately, Deborah Klein is removed as president. All disability-related fines will be reviewed and refunded. We'll mandate ADA training." Applause exploded, raw and fierce. Claire grabbed my hand, Mark squeezed my shoulder. The news aired that night, Deborah's walkout looping on every channel. Neighbors texted apologies, offers to help. One wrote, "Thank you for saying what we couldn't." Deborah was gone within a day, no fanfare, just a bulletin note, relieved of duties. The new president, Ellen Brooks, a retired nurse, announced a partnership with the Epilepsy Foundation, mandatory training, and a new charter: no child shall be penalized for disability. Joy is not a disturbance. Deborah was ordered to complete a 6-hour epilepsy training, filmed, with families sharing their stories. She showed up, stripped of her clipboard, her armor. She flinched at seizure footage, sat rigid through choking sounds, looked away when Claire said, "You made me feel my daughter was a disease." I stood, holding Lucas's hand in spirit. "You told me he was faking. He apologized for seizing because of you." Deborah didn't apologize, but she listened, hands trembling as she took her certificate. The news called it. What change looks like? Not a scandal but a reckoning. Lucas watched, tilting his head. "She doesn't look mean," he said. "Sometimes people don't," I replied. "Did she say sorry?" "No, but she heard you." He shrugged. "Maybe that's a start." Weeks later, Lucas asked to ride his bike. We dusted off his blue frame, dinosaur stickers peeling, a plush T-Rex in the basket for luck. He pedaled free down the sidewalk where Mia, Claire's daughter, drew wild chalk swirls. Other kids joined skateboards, bubbles, laughter. Claire and I locked eyes from her porch, no words needed. The street was alive, unapologetic. At dinner, Lucas asked, "Does she mean it?" I paused. "I think she heard you, buddy." He nodded, digging into his mac and cheese. The neighborhood changed. Kids painted murals, Mia blasted music from her tricycle. Deborah waved now, stiff but real, once asking what ice pops the kids liked. Ellen handed me a draft charter. All residents have the right to exist without fear. Joy is life. I cried, not for VY Tory, but for Lucas, pedaling without fear, for Mia's chalk, for a silence that wasn't forced but chosen, a silence that held love, not control. Justice wasn't just served, it was lived in every laugh, every unapologetic step.
If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.